Tina Turner and the Truth Behind Tina Turner, born Anna Mae Bullock, November 26, 1939, is an American-born singer, songwriter, and actress. She has been a citizen of Switzerland since 2013. Referred to as the Queen of Rock and Roll, she rose to prominence as the lead singer of Ike and Tina Turner before launching a successful career as a solo performer. Turner began her career with Ike Turner's Kings of Rhythm in 1957. Under the name Little and she appeared on her first record, Box Top, in 1958. In 1960, she was introduced as Tina Turner with the hit single A Fool in Love. The duo went on to become one of the most formidable live acts in history. They released hits such as It's Gonna Work Out Fine, River Deep, Mountain High, the Grammy-winning Proud Mary, and Nutbush City Limits before disbanding in 1976. In the 1980s, Turner launched one of the greatest comebacks in music history. Her 1984 multi-platinum album, Private Dancer, contained her hit song What's Love Got to Do With It, which won the Grammy Award for Record of the Year, and it became her first and only #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. At age 44, she was the oldest female solo artist to top the Hot 100. 8. Her chart success continued with Better Be Good to Me, Private Dancer, We Don't Need Another Hero, Thunderdome, Typical Male, The Best, I Don't Wanna Fight, and Golden Eye. During her Break Every Rule World Tour in 1988, she set a then Guinness World Record for the largest paying audience, 180,000, for a solo performer. Turner also acted in the films Tommy, 1975, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, 1985, and Last Action Hero, 1993. In 1993, What's Love Got to Do With It, a biopic adapted from her autobiography Tina, My Life Story, was released. In 2009, Turner retired after completing her Tina 50th Anniversary Tour, which is one of the highest-grossing tours of all time. Having sold over 100 million records, Turner is one of the best-selling recording artists of all time. She has received 12 Grammy Awards, which include 8 competitive awards, 3 Grammy Hall of Fame awards, and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. She was the first Black artist and first female to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone ranked her among the 100 greatest artists of all time and the 100 greatest singers of all time. She has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and the St. Louis Walk of Fame. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Ike Turner in 1991, and is a 2005 recipient of the Kennedy Center Honors. A resident of Kuznakt since 1994, she relinquished her American citizenship after obtaining Swiss citizenship in 2013. Early life. Tina Turner was born Anna Mae Bullock on November 26, 1939, in Brownsville, Tennessee, the youngest daughter of Zelma Priscilla, née Curry, and Floyd Richard Bullock. The family lived in the nearby rural unincorporated community of Nutbush, Tennessee, where her father worked as an overseer of the sharecroppers at Poindexter Farm on Highway 180. She later recalled picking cotton with her family at an early age. When she participated in the PBS documentary African American Lives 2 with Drive Henry Louis Gates, he shared her DNA estimates, which were predominantly African, approximately 33% European and only 1% Native American. Turner had previously believed that she had a significant amount of Native American ancestry. Bullock had 2 older sisters, Evelyn Juanita Curry and Ruby Elaine Bullock. As young children, the 3 sisters were separated when their parents relocated to Knoxville, Tennessee, to work at a defense facility during World War II. Bullock went to stay with her strict, religious paternal grandparents, Alex and Roxana Bullock, who were deacon and deaconess at the Woodlawn Missionary Baptist Church. After the war, the sisters reunited with their parents and moved with them to Knoxville. 2 years later, the family returned to Nutbush to live in the Flag Grove community, where Bullock attended Flag Grove Elementary School from 1st through 8th grade. As a young girl, Bullock sang in the church choir at Nutbush's Spring Hill Baptist Church. When she was 11, her mother Zelma ran off without warning, seeking freedom from her abusive relationship with Floyd by relocating to St. Louis in 1950. 2 years after her mother left the family, her father married another woman and moved to Detroit in 1952. Bullock and her sisters were sent to live with their maternal grandmother, Georgiana Curry, in Brownsville, Tennessee. Turner stated in her autobiography Tina that she felt her mother had not loved her, that she wasn't wanted, and that her mother had planned to leave her father when pregnant with her. She was a very young woman who didn't want another kid, Turner wrote. As a teenager, Bullock worked as a domestic worker for the Henderson family. She was at the Henderson house when she was notified that her half-sister Evelyn died in a car crash alongside her cousins Margaret and Vella Evans. A self-professed tomboy, Bullock joined both the cheerleading squad and the female basketball team at Carver High School in Brownsville, and socialized every chance she got. When Bullock was 16, her grandmother died, so she went to live with her mother in St. Louis. She graduated from Sumner High School in 1958. After her graduation, Bullock worked as a nurse's aide at Barnes Jewish Hospital. Ike and Tina Turner main article, Ike and Tina Turner Origins, 1957 to 1960. I would have been lost in my life at that point without him. I mean, I could do two things, work in a hospital or sing in Ike's band. I didn't know anything else. Or anyone else. And I wanted to sing. Tina Turner, 1986. Bullock and her sister began to frequent nightclubs in St. Louis and East St. Louis. She first saw Ike Turner perform with his band the Kings of Rhythm at the Manhattan Club in East St. Louis. Bullock was impressed by his talent, recalling that she almost went into a trance watching him play. She asked Turner to let her sing in his band despite the fact that few women had ever sung with him. Turner said he'd call her but never did. One night in 1957, she got hold of the microphone from Kings of Rhythm drummer Eugene Washington during an intermission and she sang the B.B. King blues ballad, You Know I Love You. Upon hearing her sing, Turner asked her if she knew more songs. She sang the rest of the night and became a featured vocalist with his band. During this period, he taught her the finer points of vocal control and performance. Bullock's first recording was in 1958 under the name Little Ann on the single Box Top. She is credited as a vocalist on the record alongside Ike and fellow Kings of Rhythm singer Carlson Oliver. In 1960, Turner wrote A Fool in Love for singer Art Lassiter. Bullock was to sing background with Lassiter's backing vocalists, the Artettes. Lassiter failed to show up for the recording session at Technisonic Studios. Since Turner already paid for the studio time, Bullock suggested to sing lead. He decided to use her to record a demo with the intention of erasing her vocals and adding Lassiter's at a later date. Local St. Louis disc jockey Dave Dixon convinced Turner to send the tape to Juggy Murray, president of R&B label Sue Records. Upon hearing the song, Murray was impressed with Bullock's vocals, later stating that Tina sounded like screaming dirt. It was a funky sound. Murray bought the track and paid Turner a $25,000 advance for the recording and publishing rights. Murray also convinced Turner to make Bullock the star of the show. Turner responded by renaming her Tina because it rhymed with Sheena. However, family and friends still called her Ann. He was inspired by Sheena, Queen of the Jungle and Nooka the Jungle Girl to create her stage persona. Turner added his last name and trademarked the name as a form of protection, so that if Bullock left him like his previous singers had, he could replace her with another Tina Turner. Introduction to the public as Tina Turner began with the release of A Fool in Love, which became a hit single. Early success, 1960 to 1965, Turner in 1970. The single A Fool in Love was released in July 1960 and became an immediate hit, peaking at number 2 on the Hot R&B Sides chart and number 27 on the Billboard Hot 100. Journalist Kurt Loder described the track as the blackest record to ever creep into the white pop charts since Ray Charles's gospel-styled What Did I Say That previous summer. Another single from the duo, It's Gonna Work Out Fine, reached number 14 on the Hot 100 and number 2 on the R&B chart in 1961, earning them a Grammy nomination for Best Rock and Roll Performance. Notable singles released between 1960 and 1962 included the R&B hits I Idolize You, Poor Fool, and Tra-La-La-La-La. After the release of A Fool in Love, Ike created the Ike and Tina Turner Revue, which included the Kings of Rhythm and a girl group called the Ikeettes as backing vocalists and dancers. He remained in the background as the band leader. Ike put the entire revue through a rigorous touring schedule across the United States, performing 90 days straight in venues around the country. During the days of the Chitlin Circuit, the Ike and Tina Turner Revue built a reputation as one of the most hottest, most durable, and potentially most explosive of all R&B ensembles, with its show rivaling that of the James Brown Revue in terms of musical spectacle. Due to their profitable performances, they were able to perform in front of desegregated audiences in southern clubs and hotels. Between 1963 and 1965, the band toured constantly and produced moderately successful R&B singles. Turner's first credited single as a solo artist, Too Many Ties That Bind, We Need an Understanding was released from Ike's label Sonya Records in 1964. Another single by the duo, You Can't Miss Nothing That You Never Had, reached number 29 on the Billboard R&B chart. After their tenure at Sue Records, the duo signed with more than 10 labels during the remainder of the decade, including Kent, Simcoe, Tangerine, Pompeii, A&M, and Minute. In 1964, they signed with Loma Records, a subsidiary of Warner Brothers Records, which was run by Bob Krasnow. Krasnow became their manager shortly after they left Sue Records. On the Warner Brothers label, they achieved their first charting album with Live. The Ike and Tina Turner Show, peaking at number 8 on the Billboard Hot R&B LPs chart in February 1965. Their singles Tell Her I'm Not Home, released on Loma, and Goodbye, So Long, released on Modern Records, were top 40 R&B hits in 1965. Turner's own profile was raised after several solo appearances on shows such as American Bandstand and Shindig, while the entire review appeared on Hollywood A Go-Go. In 1965, Phil Spector attended an Ike and Tina Turner show at a club on the Sunset Strip, and he invited them to appear in the concert film The Big TNT Show. Mainstream success, 1966 to 1975. Impressed by the duo's performance on The Big TNT Show, Phil Spector was eager to produce Turner. Working out a deal with Ike and Tina Turner's manager Bob Krasnow, who was also head of Loma, Spector offered $20,000 for creative control over the sessions to produce Turner and have them released from their contract with Loma. They signed to Spector's Phil's label in April 1966 after Turner had already recorded with him. Their first single on his label, River Deep, Mountain High, was released in May 1966. Spector considered that record, with Turner's Maximum Energy Over the Wall of Sound, to be his best work. It was successful overseas, reaching number 3 on the UK singles chart and number 1 on Los 40 Principales in Spain, but it failed to go any higher than number 88 on the Billboard Hot 100. The impact of the record gave Ike and Tina Turner an opening spot on the Rolling Stones UK tour in the fall of 1966. In November 1967, Turner became the first female artist and the first black artist to appear on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. The duo signed with Blue Thumb Records in 1968, releasing the album Out of Season in 1969. The album produced their charted cover of Otis Redding's I've Been Loving You Too Long. Later that year they released The Hunter. The title track, Albert King's The Hunter, earned Turner a Grammy nomination for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. The success of the albums led to the Revue headlining in Las Vegas, where their shows were attended by a variety of celebrities including David Bowie, Sly Stone, Janis Joplin, Cher, James Brown, Ray Charles, Elton John, and Elvis Presley. Turner performing on stage at Tulane Stadium in October 1970. In the fall of 1969, Ike and Tina Turner's profile in their home country was raised after opening for the Rolling Stones on their U.S. tour. They gained more exposure from performances on The Ed Sullivan Show, Playboy After Dark, and The Andy Williams Show. The duo released 2 albums in 1970, Come Together and Workin' Together. Their cover of I Want to Take You Higher peaked at number 34 on the Hot 100, whereas the original by Sly and the Family Stone peaked 4 numbers below that position. The Come Together and Workin' Together albums marked a turning point in their careers, in which they switched from their usual R&B repertoire to incorporate more rock tunes such as Come Together, Honky Tonk Woman, and Get Back. In early 1971, their cover of Creedence Clearwater Revival's Proud Mary became their biggest hit. The single reached number 4 on the Hot 100 and sold more than 1 million copies, winning them a Grammy for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group. In July 1971, their live album, What You Hear Is What You Get, was released. It was recorded at Carnegie Hall and became their first certified gold album. Later that year they had a top 40 R&B hit with Oop Hoop Padu. Their next 3 singles to chart, I'm Yours, Use Me Any Way You Wanna, Up in He and Early One Morning, all peaked at number 47 on the R&B chart. In 1972, they opened Bullock Sound Recording Studio near their home in Inglewood. After Liberty was absorbed into United Artists Records, they were assigned to that label. Around this time, Turner began writing more songs. She wrote 9 out of the 10 tracks on their 1972 album Feel Good. Their 1973 hit single Nutbush City Limits, number 22 pop, number 11 R&B, Bend by Turner, reached number 1 in Austria, number 4 in the UK and the top 5 in several other countries. It was certified silver by the BPI for selling 250,000 in the UK. As a result of their success, they received the Golden European Record Award, the first ever given, for selling more than 1 million records of Nutbush City Limits in Europe. Follow-up hits include Sweet Rhode Island Red and Sexy Ida in 1974. In 1974, the duo released a Grammy-nominated album The Gospel According to Ike and Tina, which was nominated for Best Soul Gospel Performance. Ike also received a solo nomination for his single Father Alone from the album. Turner's first solo album, Tina Turns the Country On, earned her a nomination for Best R&B Vocal Performance, Female. That year, Turner filmed the rock opera Tommy in London. She played the Acid Queen, a drug-addicted prostitute. Her performance was critically acclaimed. Shortly after filming Wrapped, Turner appeared on Anne Margaret's TV special. Following the release of Tommy in 1975, another solo album by Turner was released titled Acid Queen. The album reached number 39 on the Billboard R&B chart. It produced charting singles Baby, Get It On and a cover of Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love. Personal life, relationships and marriages. Early relationships. While still in Brownsville, Turner, then called Dan Bullock, fell in love for the first time with Harry Taylor. They met at a high school basketball game. Taylor initially attended a different school, but he relocated to be near her. In 1986, she told Rolling Stone, "Harry was real popular and had tons of girlfriends, but eventually I got him, and we went steady for a year." Their relationship ended after she discovered that Taylor had married another girl he impregnated. After moving to St. Louis, Bullock and her sister Aline became acquainted with Ike Turner's Kings of Rhythm. Aline was dating the band's drummer Eugene Washington and Bullock began dating the saxophonist Raymond Hill. After she became pregnant during her senior year of high school, she moved in with Hill, who lived with Ike Turner. She recalled, "I didn't love him as much as I'd loved Harry. But he was good looking. I thought, my baby's going to be beautiful." Their relationship ended after Hill broke his ankle during a wrestling match with Kings of Rhythm singer Carlson Oliver. Hill returned to his hometown of Clarksdale before their son Craig was born in August 1958, leaving Bullock to become a single parent. Ike and Tina Turner arriving at Amsterdam Airport Schiphol in 1971. Turner likened her early relationship with Ike Turner to that of a brother and sister from another lifetime. They were platonic friends from the time they met in 1957 until 1960. Their affair began while Ike was with his live-in girlfriend Lorraine Taylor. They became intimate when she went to sleep with him after another musician threatened to go into her room. After recording A Fool in Love, Turner told Ike that she didn't want to continue their relationship. He responded by striking her in the head with a wooden shoe stretcher. Turner recalled that this incident was the first time he instilled fear in her, but she decided to stay with him because she really did care about him. After the birth of their son Ronnie in October 1960, they moved to Los Angeles in 1962 and married in Tijuana. In 1963, Ike purchased a house in the View Park area. They brought their son Ronnie, Turner's son Craig, and Ike's two sons with Lorraine, Ike Jr. and Michael, from St. Louis to live with them. She later revealed in Tina that Ike was abusive and promiscuous throughout their marriage, which led to her suicide attempt in 1968 by overdosing on Valium pills. She said, "It was my relationship with Ike that made me most unhappy. At first, I had really been in love with him. Look what he'd done for me. But he was totally unpredictable." Ike was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder in his old age. Turner abruptly left Ike after they got into a fight on their way to the Dallas Statler Hilton on July 1, 1976. She fled with only 36 cents and a mobile credit card in her pocket. On July 27, Turner filed for divorce on the grounds of irreconcilable differences. Her divorce petition asked for $4,000 a month in alimony, $1,000 a month in child support, and custody of her sons Craig and Ronnie. The divorce was finalized on March 29, 1978. In the final divorce decree, Turner took responsibility for missed concert dates as well as an IRS lien. Turner retained songwriter royalties from songs she had written, but Ike got the publishing royalties for his compositions and hers. She also kept her two Jaguar cars, furs and jewelry along with her stage name. Turner gave Ike her share of their Bullock Sound recording studio, publishing companies, real estate, and he kept his 4 cars. Several promoters lost money and sued to recoup their losses. For almost 2 years, she received food stamps and played small clubs to pay off debts. On multiple occasions, Ike stated that he was never officially married to Turner because he was legally married to another woman at the time of their ceremony. However, They had a common law marriage and still had to go through a formal divorce. He also revealed that her birth name is Martha Nell Bullock, not Anna Mae Bullock. She signed her legal name as Martha Nell Turner on a 1977 contract. In his autobiography Talking Back My Name, Ike stated, "Sure, I've slapped Tina. We had fights and there have been times when I punched her to the ground without thinking. But I never beat her." In a 1999 interview on The Roseanne Show, Roseanne Barr urged Ike to publicly apologize to Turner. In 2007, Ike told JIT that he still loved her and he had written a letter apologizing for putting her and the kids through that kind of stuff, but he never sent it. After his death on December 12, 2007, Turner issued a brief statement through her spokesperson, "Tina hasn't had any contact with Ike in more than 30 years. No further comment will be made." Turner's sister Elaine still considered Ike her brother-in-law and attended his funeral. Phil Spector criticized Turner at the funeral. Turner told the Sunday Times in 2018 that as an old person, "I have forgiven him, but I would not work with him. He asked for one more tour with me, and I said, no, absolutely not. Ike wasn't someone you could forgive and allow him back in." Erwin Bach. In 1986, Turner met German music executive Erwin Bach, who was sent by her European record label, EMI, to greet Turner at Dusseldorf Airport. Bach is over 16 years her junior. He was born on January 24, 1956 in Cologne, Germany. Initially friends, they began dating later that year. In July 2013, after a 27-year romantic relationship, they married in a civil ceremony on the banks of Lake Zurich in Kusnacht, Switzerland. Children. Turner had two biological sons, Craig Raymond Turner, with Raymond Hill, and Ronald Reynold Turner, known as Rownie, with Ike Turner. She also adopted two of Ike Turner's children, Ike Turner Jr., born October 3, 1958, and Michael Turner, born February 23, 1960, raising them as her own. Turner was 18 years of age when she gave birth to her eldest son, who was born Raymond Craig Hill on August 20, 1958. His biological father was Kings of Rhythm saxophonist Raymond Hill. After he was adopted by Ike Turner, his name was changed to Craig Raymond Turner. In July 2018, Craig Turner was found dead at age 59 in an apparent suicide. According to the initial report of the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office, the cause of death